there everybody, it's me again, Kenny K, and I wanted to talk to you about, in my opinion, John Carpenter's last great movie, In the Mouth of Madness from 1994. Um, this movie has a bunch of famous people. Charlton Heston as Harglow, the chief editor of the Sutter Kane books. Sutter Kane is played by a guy named Jürgen Prochnow. Sam Neill, of course, from Jurassic Park. Event Horizon plays John Trent, an insurance investigator. Then we have Julie Carmen, Linda Stiles. She's going to be accompanied with Trent at some point. And Peter Jason. Now, this may not be a recognizable name, but Carpenter used that character in almost every one of his movies. Small roles. In this movie, he is the sweating Mr. Paul, a businessman that is being investigated for insurance fraud by Trent, and oh boy, he gets it. Also, we got Wilhelm von Humburg plays Simon. Who is that guy? That's the guy in Ghostbusters 2, Vigo the Carpathian, the main monster in Ghostbusters 2, the guy in the painting. Yeah, big guy. Now, this movie basically is about Harlow, the chief editor. They can't find Sutter Kane anymore. Sutter Kane basically is they're trying to make him the Stephen King. He's sort of Stephen King, right? And they can't find him anymore, and his books are really popular, and they don't know what's happening. They think, is it a hoax? Is he dead? Is he doing something with insurance fraud? We don't. Nobody knows. He's gone. And Harglow, the editor, tries to, hire Trent to look him up, but they don't know where he is, so it's really hard to find. Linda Stiles is gonna help him. Now, he's buying all these books, and he sees weird things happening, like when he's buying all these books of Sutter Kane, you see this guy with these weird eyes looking at him, blood-drenched eyes. Then you have this cop beating up young kids really badly, and then he says, "Do you want a piece of this, you bastard," or something? And he goes away. And so he's reading those books, and the thing with those books is they get to you. When you read them, they get to you, and you become sort of, they possess you in a way. Because at some point, he's having lunch with one of the people that hired him, and you see a maniac with an axe coming towards the screen, which is a cool shot, and he just breaks the glass, and he says to Trent, "Do you like Sutter Kane?" And then he wants to chop him up, and of course, luckily there are two police officers blasting him away, but he had blood-drenched eyes too, with blood running through his eyes, and he was completely fucked up. Now, apparently that guy was Sutter Kane's personal publisher, so they don't understand why this happened, and he had a piece of the manuscript of the book with him. A piece, not the entire thing. Now they know he's making a new book. They don't know what the title is, but they want it. They want it. They want the money, 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 right? So eventually, because of that, and he he eventually sorts out where he's going because he sees something in the books. He starts to he scissors them out, and he finds this map, which is a map to a small town. I don't know the name of the town, but it's a small town. It's not fictional; it's real. In New Hampshire somewhere, and he said he's probably there. So Harlow sends him with Styles there, but he says, "I work alone. No, we want somebody representing our, our publish empire." So she goes on with sorry, and it's from there that spoilers begin. So they go to that town, and now spoiler alert for people who don't want to see this movie. For people who don't want to see this clip, get the hell away or stay here. Fine by me. I like you to stay on, but if you don't want to, I respect that. So spoiler alert. So they go to that town, and at some point they see weird things happening, like they're driving at night, and she looks out the window. She doesn't see the road anymore. It's like she sees the sky on the road. Then she sees a young boy with a bike, with carts on the wheel flapping by. Then she sees the same boy, but with an old long white hair. And then she hits that old man boy, and the boy is saying, "He won't let me go. They won't let me go." And they're trying to call the police and things like that, and he just steps back on his bike and he's gone. So that's the first weird thing. Then when eventually Trent is asleep, they arrive at the town where they have to be, where they need to be. Now, here's the weird thing. This town is completely isolated. Nobody's living there. Trent is looking at some stores. It looks like a boring Midwestern, pure Americana town. He says it's gonna look like, and you see this bunch of kids running after a dog, and a few of these kids look weird. And in a few minutes, I'll describe one of these kids. And they go to a hotel run by Mrs. Pickman. Now, Mrs. Pickman is actually in the book, in an earlier book. She owns the hotel with her husband. She runs it, but her husband is being tortured. And we know that later because at some point we see her husband naked, handcuffed on her feet, and every time he says something, he kicks him. So strange things start to happen. In the book it says in their hotel room, that side of the window you can see a cathedral with these onion-like shaped towers, and a black cathedral, and they go. Then everything what happens then, Styles know. The rioters come to the church, like 3 or 4 pickup trucks. Everybody has weapons. And then you've got, like I said, Wilhelm von Humberg, Vigo the Carpathian. He blasts the shotgun blast in the air. "Cain, give me back my son!" And then the doors open like this and back in this, and then you see Tommy, his son. "Tommy boy, come to me, Tommy boy." His accent is just weird. It's funny, And then Sir Kane appears, and then it closes again, and Dobermans are coming from all sides. They start to attack the rioters. They run away. They come across these kids that were running after the dog, and one of these kids, they throw a ball. One of these kids asks for the ball back, and this kid has sharp teeth, grizzly eyes. She looks like a little demonoid kid, and all the kids have something creepy about them. It's weird. It's really weird. Now, the beginning of the movie starts with Trent's character being committed, and Dr. Wren, he actually comes to visit him to hear what his story is about, because at that point the world is going to shit, and he wants to know more about that because he knew everything what's going to happen. Now what happens is that at some point you see even Mrs. Pickman becoming a monster. He goes to the basement. She's hacking her husband to bits, and then you have this solarium where all these plants are, and then she's standing there with a big monster mouth and tentacles. Styles is even, she meets with Sutter Kane alone at some point, and she possesses him, and she becomes this obsessed woman. She wants to have sex with him. He doesn't want to, and then she becomes this evil, like also a monster. And then you see the door of their hotel room, and Sam Neill, Trent flies through it. She's pretty strong at that point. He wants to escape, and then of course, like I said, he sees Mrs. Pickman's the monster. He first goes to the basement where he sees Mrs. Pickman's face still. She has all these tentacles and chopping her husband in pieces, pretty gory and pretty disturbing. And then you see when he's trying to take the car, drive away, and he sees her in the solarium with where all the plants are. The glasses thing, where you put all plants. Then he drives, but he can't get out. He always comes to the same point, and you see all these townspeople look like demons, or blood eyes and axes and shit like that. He eventually goes into a bar, the bar with the guy Simon, Vigo, the more Carpathian, and he says, "You're still here. You should leave. You should leave now." And he says, "Yeah, I can't. How can I leave? I don't know, but you should try." He takes a shotgun and puts it on his mouth and says, "Oh," and Trent says, "What are you doing?" "I can't do anything about it." Before he does that, he says, "It all started with the boys, then the men." And then he takes a shotgun and he says, "I cannot do anything about it. He wrote me this way." Head explodes. I mean, it's basically, the movie is Sutter Kane wrote a new book called The Mouth of Madness. He goes to the church, Trent confronts Sutter Kane, and he's saying, "Here's my manuscript, here's my book, take it with you to the world. There's a gate that's being pushed, slime coming through," and he says, "I can't hold him any longer." And basically he starts to peel himself off with pretty CGI, and he looks at the gate, and then you hear Styles reading the book about Trent looking in the depths of the unknown, seeing what's coming for him, seeing the horror that's coming for him, and runs away. So basically, Trent was a character that was originally not put in the book. Styles was a character that was in the book, but Trent wasn't originally planned to be in the book. But he's now the antagonist in the book. So he wants to take Styles with it, but she can't. I am already written in the book to die, and then he flies away, and you got these monster demon-like creatures running behind him that came out of the gate, and eventually comes back and he lands on a street, the pathway to normality, and with a manuscript in his hand, he drops the manuscript, gets the fuck away, he goes to the motel, he gets through a package to the mail, again, the manuscript, he can't get rid of it, and at some point he goes to the publisher, Harlow. He says, you sent me with Styles, and he says, Styles, who the fuck is Styles? I don't know Styles. We send you alone. So Styles was already, it's a weird movie, because apparently also he said, don't publish the book, everybody will go mad. We published it a month ago. You brought us the manuscript a month ago. We're already making the movie. And was completely going mad. He apparently goes to this bookstore. He has an axe. He looks pretty fucked up in the face. And then he starts hacking people to death. And that's how he gets to the insane asylum. Now, apparently, the entire world is now in an apocalyptic way. People are killing each other. Monsters are there. And the insane asylum is attacked, and you can see the shadowy figures. It's pretty creepy. It's a creepy scene that you see. There's this music playing. I'm never going away, and then everybody's getting killed. So you got all that blood against the wall and things like that, and his door is open, and he's walking at the street, and he goes in a theater. And then he sees it now playing the Mouth of Madness, and he sees himself, and he starts laughing like hell. The thing is about this movie that what I don't understand is that Trent was never really meant to be in his book. Styles, she was somebody who was meant to be in his book, but Trent wasn't, and that's something I don't understand. And then when Simon, Vigor Carpathian, that he first said that the town was normal, but when Sutter Kane arrived, he took over the children first, and then the adults, and then a few adults kept alive, but he wrote them a certain way that they died, like then he committed suicide, but Trent was at the spot written in, because he was still typing his book, as a new antagonist of the book. So he's the guy who kind of survives but becomes mad. That's his story. He survives but becomes mad. He becomes the person that, like that King's publisher was with the axe. Do you read Sutter Kane? And then he becomes that guy at the end. But it's a good movie. It's a really creepy movie. Great atmosphere. Some gory bits, disturbing bits. More gory, disturbing. I would say more disturbing the way some of these kids look. Okay, Mrs. Pickman, chopping her husband, but then with those tentacle arms, that's disturbing. And you see the axe going in, so it's also a little bit gory, but also like paintings that, a beautiful painting that then becomes something evil-like, with a monster coming out of the water when she keeps seeing at it. It's weird, and especially that Styles was never with him. I mean, Trent was the only one who sees Styles from the beginning. So was he already written in at that moment? I guess so. But he's the only non-fictional character because he brings the book, and Styles at some point, the fictional Styles says it was supposed to be a publicity hoax, so a publicity stunt, so it would sell more books, but it's all real. It's happening all real. It's not fiction anymore. It's real, and the reality between real and not real is really blurry in this movie. It's like Sutter Kane becomes God. He can make everything look blue, and he can create monsters. He can create characters and create their fates just by writing with the pen. It's a really good movie, complex, but great, creepy atmosphere, great acting, and an original idea. And it's sadly to say the last good movie of John Carpenter with a good soundtrack, by the way. The beginning soundtrack is really good. Yeah, I ain't got nothing more to say about this one. You should see this one, really. It's I couldn't find the movie for you for free. I had one for free, but it was in French, so sorry, that's probably gonna be a hassle for a lot of people. So you can see it on Amazon. You can look it up on Mubi, but you have to pay. Amazon is like $2.99 to hire it, to rent it. So, any case, great movie. The last of John Carpenter's greatest movies, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people think like me. So, see you later. Adios.